The next important part of the canvas is the target users section. Now, there are often two types of users. Those are end users and stakeholders. Now, the goal here is to identify groups of people whose cooperation will be required to make this project successful. Now, the groups are united by common goals and concerns, and include varying roles or occupations. End users are the most, they're the most obvious target users. So those are probably the users we think about pretty much only, because they are the primary audience for using the application we're trying to build. Their goals provide opportunities for developing features to help them get there faster, easier, or with more engagement, whereas their concerns help us understand what may hinder successful usage and offers an opportunity to address them. Examples of an end user would be something like a job function. So if I were thinking maybe like a mechanic, that could be an end user. If we were thinking more specifically about our product, an end user would be like a shopper. That's pretty vague. If we want to dig even deeper, we can say a family shopper, a person who shops for their family. Or if I were thinking another thing, it would be maybe if we're thinking about more like a method of use, that could be like mobile user or desktop user. Or maybe typical situational users. It could be like a last minute user. So like a person who is maybe shopping very quickly. Like their situation really depends on getting in and out of the product as quickly as possible because they don't have much time. And that happens to everyone. Sometimes, we may embody different types of, let me delete that one, but we embody different types of users because, sometimes they are very situational. So let me just put these together. Perfect. Generally, what we want to do is we want to get these users and we want to get together. We want to diverge. Everyone write down on stickies, give them like 5 minutes to do that. Come together and figure out what are the users we really want to target for this project. In our case, maybe it's going to be a mobile user. We want to really focus on last minute shoppers. We can bring this one in here too. So we can say that, hey, we're really focusing on this for this project. Family shoppers we'll think about at a later date, and we don't forget about them. We just keep them to the side. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually think about end user goals. So what questions we can ask are the following. What frustration or pain point are we trying to help alleviate? This is where we can ask these types of questions, get our participants to start writing down on stickies. So we'll do something like this. What are we trying to alleviate? What results are we helping to make better? What limitation are we helping them overcome? What type of device would they most likely use to perform these tasks? So we need a mobile product, mobile fast product. I often get like answers like that, but I usually ask them to dig a little deeper. I want to, a more seamless product experience. There could be like if there's a web application, maybe that translates really well to the mobile application. Maybe there's different touch points that are important. What's another thing? We can say maybe a more personal shopping experience. Understanding those goals really help us to think about this application in a different way. And the next part after that is, let's make red stickies. It doesn't really matter. I like to color code sometimes because it helps afterwards when we have to debrief all this. We want to talk about the end user concerns. What would make them hesitate to take on a new application? What ill consequence is likely to happen with this application? What competitive level should this reach to be the preferred choice for this problem? So there's a lot of tough questions to answer here. One example could be like irrelevant results, or bad results for searches. Another one could be This could be more of a developer-based answer, like application stability. Another one could be foggy UX. So like, I'm just writing foggy UX and that is very vague, but that could be like, users really want to know like the status of their order. And if we don't allow for a really great user experience, people are just going to drop off and never use our application again. So these are the types of questions you're looking to ask, and these are the type of answers you get. And this really starts to kind of define what type of things you're going to be focusing on in this project. Now, what you want to do is next, we're going to just do the exact same thing for other users. Now, the next set of users are stakeholders. Now, these are less obviously important target users, but often prove very important to the project success. So you aren't really going to be like publishing an application, or you're not going to be able to get by like all that red tape if your stakeholders aren't on board with you. And that's really the main factor here, is to, get their understanding of what their goals and concerns are. Many projects start as an opportunity to prove that something can work effectively to some key stakeholders. Key stakeholders will include, let's remove this. They may include something like investors. They may include C-level execs. They may include buyers. So an investor who uses early traction to invest in the company's success. We have buyers who, like a salesperson is trying to convince to become a customer. The success of the project can rely upon these stakeholders sometimes more than the end users. And this is why we really need to focus on this part too. Understanding the goals and concerns of these key stakeholders can inform decisions and reveal opportunities to validate the direction of the product early and often. This really reduces the probability of failure throughout. What will help make this project real? External teams, stakeholders, investors, sponsors, departments, partners, etc. All those types of people are actually going to be the ones that are maybe, paying for this project. They're the ones that are pumping life into this project, and we need to take them into consideration as well. Questions could be, are like the APIs available? How responsive can the external team be to changes to validation rules or model design to meet the project goals? How can we engage with stakeholders throughout the process, whether that's like with demos, user acceptance testing, design reviews? What information do each of the stakeholders really care about? Some concerns may be like, question you want to ask, or what are the risks each of the stakeholders are primarily concerned about? Generally, that's going to be different for each type of user. In summary, the end users help make decisions on what to build, and key stakeholders provide an opportunity to involve those that can influence the success of the project early. So their input comes in right at the beginning stages and not like when you've been working on high fidelity designs. It's really important to identify all these different types of user groups so that way it really can help inform the success of your project. And that's it for target users.